Hello and welcome to Kelly and Wrighty after a match week which finished with Newcastle scoring 8 at Sheffield United. Wow. Have you ever been beaten by 8?
Yes, there was a Liverpool drubbing, a 9-0 drubbing.
Followed by an FA Cup win, so swings and roundabouts.
Yes.
But we'll gloss over it. And as well as all those goals, we had a thrilling North London derby at the Emirates. Starman James Maddison says Spurs aren't Spursy anymore, so is he right?
How about Chelsea? Things are going from bad to worse after they lost to Aston Villa. Mauricio Pochettino is calling for patience from the owners.
Manchester City made it 6 wins from 6 to stay 2 points clear of Liverpool at the top of the table. Could this be their invincible season?
And it was a tough day for West Ham at Anfield, but Hammers defender Emerson will join us on the show to discuss the start of the season and his unique European record.
Yeah, that's coming up later, but what a weekend that was. A record 8-0 away win for Newcastle lifts them up to 8th place in the table. You could say they ate. Tottenham and Arsenal dropped down to 4th and 5th after their derby draw. Brighton are up to 3rd after beating Bournemouth, and Liverpool have quietly moved into 2nd place behind Manchester City, for now at least. At the bottom of the table, Chelsea stay 14th, no goals in their last 3 games. Everton's first win of the season takes them up to 15th. The 3 promoted clubs are in the bottom 3 spots. Sheffield United now have a goal difference of -12 after that thrashing by Newcastle. Yeah, it's gonna be a long season for all the promoted sides, which I think was everybody's predictions at the start of the season. But there is yet time for them to try and turn a corner. But one of the teams who has started the season very promisingly is Tottenham. It was a 2-2 draw at the Emirates in the North London derby. We are going to talk about it from an Arsenal perspective, and I know you were mentioning the role of Jorginho just briefly earlier. But for Tottenham, James Maddison has said Spurs aren't Spursy anymore. Are they?
Not on the start of this season's showing. Of course they're not. It's very early for him to say, and hopefully at some stage he probably has to eat those words. But you have to look at the way that they've started and the players, how they've responded to Ange Postecoglou and how well they've responded to him. Because I think in the first half, Arsenal could have won that game. In the second half, they could have lost the game. But Tottenham were, for me, never out of the game. There was a chance, obviously, with Jesus, I think could have made it 2-0. It would have been interesting to see how Tottenham would have reacted if he scored that chance. But in the main, you know, they carried on trying to play out from the back, even though they should have been punished and weren't. You know, some of the times they went long, but then they went back to pass it through the back. And then they've got quality players who, in the moments, I think Udogie, the goalkeeper, you know, Van der Ven, is it? Basuma. I thought that they were really, really competent yesterday. They were so good, and they never lost confidence in the game. And I thought that in the end there, we could have easily lost it because of how well they played. They stuck to what they were doing, and, you know, we, in the end, looked a little bit like disjointed to the point. You know, I was thinking looked like a Mikel Arteta's team 18 months ago, where you're looking at them thinking, oh, I know what they're trying to do. We seem to go into a place where we just kind of like, what's going on? You know, obviously losing Declan Rice and stuff like that. But it was, for me, it was impressive from Tottenham. And if they can carry on like that, of course they won't be Spursy anymore. I'm sure that's something they're trying to lose.
But you're right as well about Ange Postecoglou, and a lot of credit has been given to him. But I wonder if James Maddison on the pitch sort of sums up that change that feels is around Tottenham at the moment, because he came in as a player where no question about his talent, but there have been questions about discipline at times, certainly when he's been in with the England squad, that there's been questions about maybe where his ceiling was, and yet he's taken this opportunity and not only embraced it, but is now getting quite punchy when he's talking about things as well. But it seems to be like new Spurs.
I think that's what Ange brings to the table. We know he likes attacking football. He's attacking players out there, playing with total freedom. I feel for the last, 2, 3, maybe 4 years, we haven't seen Spurs play with freedom. It's almost been, you have to defend, then after you worry. As an attacker, you think about attacking, whereas normally for an attacker, it's completely the opposite. You think about attacking, that's your first instinct. When I get the ball, I'm going to do this. But they've always been thinking differently. Now, now it's almost like they've, in a way, been let out of jail. They're like, we're free, sort of thing.
They were in jail. They were
That's what I mean.
Mourinho.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like, everyone's excited and they're getting to express themselves. You can see Son's confidence is sky high at the minute. And when you've got someone like Maddison in your team,
Creative.
you're going to get chances all the time.
Is it the difference between going to work and like not going to play, but do you know what I mean when I say that?
joy of that.
There's a sense of it having a chore to do, and then having something that you can go and achieve together. Is a different sort of change in mentality, but you see it just in even the energy and the persistence that they show on the pitch.
Yeah, 100%. I think to his Spursy comment, it's really interesting coming from someone that used to compete against Spurs saying that.
Yeah.
So maybe from the outside coming in, he had this perspective of what Spurs were when he was at Leicester, and he's come in and he feels something different, which is credit to what Andrew's managed to do in the first few games.
Yeah.
We talk about managers taking on a big task. This was a big task to take, and he's already implemented the style of football that everyone understands. Basuma looks like a brand new player.
Yeah.
There's a confidence there. And this was probably the biggest test so far.
It was, yeah.
But they stepped up to the plate. They then have to go to Liverpool as well. We'll see how they do there. But I can understand why he would already say it doesn't feel Spursy anymore.
Yeah, you can see that. Probably and you know what it is? It's probably seen around the training ground, the way they're training, the way the manager is. He says he likes the way the manager looks you in the eye. He's very straight with you. Someone like James Maddison, who we see in his interviews, is very concise with things what he's saying. He's very confident about saying what he's saying. And he's got a manager, to me, that's very calm, very, like I say, very concise and kind of knows what he's doing. That's why he likes to remind people, listen, I've not been in this game for 5 minutes. I've been in this game for a long time. He's come and he's recognised, Daniel Levy's fallen on his feet with him. He's recognised the players that he's got. You look at someone like Basuma, couldn't get nowhere near the team under Conte. For a start, we're thinking, wow, it's probably over for it. And look at him, revitalised and doing an unbelievable job in the team. And the signings that Ange's made, you could see why James Maddison could look around, walk around the place and say, no, they were not Spursy no more. Now, what he's going to have to do to back that up is to make sure that they're not. And I think they showed that with the way that they've come back in games, with the way they stayed in that game, and the way in the end they could have won that game.
When they've come back in games, that's 8 points they've taken from losing positions so far this season, Tottenham, and that doesn't feel Spursy either.
At all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been incredible to see what they've been able to do. But that belief that they have, although we didn't get any injury time goals yesterday. Normally, when that goes up,
there was a lot of injury time
but look,
as well.
only Liverpool have got more points from losing positions, and always with that, it's a kind of double-edged sword, because you look at it and think, well, you shouldn't be in losing positions in the first place, and maybe you need to look at what's causing those problems. But there's a resilience about that.
From last season, they had this sort of weird attitude as well to try and win late a little bit. And some people will say early doors that this record at the moment is identical to what Conte had. But it feels different. Everyone's looking at it and feeling like this is positive football, there's a positive energy. And I think that's the difference. I think if Spurs fans are watching right now, there's a level of optimism. It doesn't feel like gel, it doesn't feel like horror, it's like a Disney film. Everything's, it's quite nice.
You could see there's more to come.
Exactly.
We're 7-8 games in, and you're already looking at Tottenham, and you have to say that they're serious contenders to be up in and around it. And they could be either they could be amongst there. It's going to be the kingmakers probably, or they're going to stop somebody. Because the way they're playing, like we say, we'll see Liverpool next. If they could take the confidence, they should take out the Arsenal game, because they'll probably look at the Arsenal game. When you saw the players walking off, Arsenal players were very disappointed. And to be fair to them, looking at the Spurs players, they looked disappointed as well, because that's the level that they're at now. And I think that it's going to be a good game against Liverpool. And whatever they take from that, if they take anything positive from that, it's only going to make them stronger. They're only going to get better. And I still feel that we've not seen Richarlison's contribution yet. That's coming, everybody.
How long have you been saying that for?
No. Yeah, and I tell you why I say it, and I say it with confidence, is because he's now in the dressing room where we saw them pushing him, where we saw Son and them pushing him to the fans to say, this is the guy, get behind this guy, we're going to back him. He revels in the fact that the love. And once he gets the love and he's got the backing of those players, they trust him, the manager loves him, he's managing him very, very well. He's another piece of the puzzle to put in there that will win games out of nothing for them.
Yeah,
I think Brennan Johnson as well. I mean, he played his first few minutes. He tried in that game. It's a very difficult game to, assert yourself. But they do have more to come, which is the optimistic side of it. how far can this Spurs side go? Well, I guess we have to wait and see, but loads of signs there for sure.
Yeah, when he came in, there was a lot of chat about what the issues might be with the way that he sets up and how much pressure it was going to put on the Spurs defender. Well, actually, all we're talking about at the moment is that great attacking football that they're capable of, and that's what allowed them to score 2 goals against Arsenal. But Arsenal had their chances, like you said. There were missed opportunities. Jesus with the effort to make it 2-0. And Mikel Arteta afterwards was clearly very disappointed, and he was saying we just weren't ruthless enough.
No, we weren't. I think that we were down on our accuracy of passing in the last third. I think we was down on actually possession as well in the game. But I think that one of the worrying things has got to be the converting of big chances. That's what they're not doing, and you can almost feel it in the stadium. When you miss a chance, a big chance, that you feel, oh no, you feel negative because you think, well, when we're creating chances, but we're not taking them. It's not a case of like we're not creating chances and we're not taking. We're creating chances and not taking them, and we can't afford to do that because then you saw the chance what Jesus missed, and it's very for me I found it very strange that you've done all that work to get yourself in the position where you are now. You've negated the play, you've taken the ball off. The goalkeeper is actually stuck in no man's land because he's not expecting the player to lose the ball there, so he can't move. He could have put the ball anywhere. You just needed composure in that moment. It's like when Maddison passes the ball through to Son, you can see him, he's not even looking at the goal, he's composed, he knows where to go, and he just passes it in. That's the composure you need, and for a big chance. So as then when the chance happens, Kels, they're scoring. When Jesus went through, I was thinking, just hit the target, and he missed. You can't do that at this level. What Mikel's trying to do, and he's constantly talking about the margins, if you are going to press Tottenham to the point where you win the ball in their area and then miss the chances, then you're not going to win a lot of the games. You're not going to win them. You're not going to win the chances. Unfortunately, Eddie Nketiah only had 1 shot on target in enough big chances, someone like him.
So is the answer then to bring in a goal scorer, or is it to get Gabriel Jesus doing better? Because you would feel like that was something that that is a finish that he could make.
It's a finish he should make.
Yeah.
It's a finish he should make, and if Eddie was in that position, I'd like to think that he would take it as well. Of course, there's going to be talk of a striker, and there always will be when you're a club of that stature and you're trying to achieve the things you're trying to get. What you're trying to win. But at the same time, if they are taking the chances that they're creating, the big chances, that striker conversation, it goes into the background because I think a club like that will always need a top striker if he comes available. But that talk then, it kind of eases into the background because people are taking the chances. Last season, Ødegaard with his contributions, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, people contributing enough goals. So when they were created, but now it's vitally important that these chances, especially in games when they're that tight, have to be taken because the games are tight.
I've got to agree with you there.
Thank you, man.
I'm not complaining too much about it.
Because you were nodding.
Yeah, because I'm not complaining about it.
And my face was like this, looking.
And then I realised you were actually quite reluctant to agree. So
It's one of those though. Like I still don't see Jesus as like a number 9. I think when City signed him, he wasn't a striker at that point. He was playing in that position because they had an injury. Effectively, he's always been a winger. He's always played wide right. So those chances that he's missing are of an attitude in a way of a winger's sort of way of thinking. Like I personally wouldn't have missed that, but I mean, that mentality. Do you get what I mean? It's not like
it's not a clinical mentality.
Yeah, it's not like a you sort of thing. Like that is your bread and butter. I don't feel like that is Jesus' bread and butter. Those little chances.
So you're saying that we need a striker. You're saying we need a striker then?
Yeah. If you look at it, City played him up in through the middle, and everybody used to say, City go again playing with another false 9. Why is it different now that he's at Arsenal?
Do you know, the thing with it as well is we've seen that Mikel doesn't hesitate to make changes or personnel or bring in players when he feels like it's time to. And I guess we're talking about big chances missed. It's something that we've become accustomed to with Jesus. We can talk about specifically this game. I've seen this happen with him previously. So you then have to ask the question about the small margins. Is it that he's prone to doing that. And if he is, do you need someone that's going to convert those chances? Because that's the bread and butter of being a striker, right? You have to put those in the back of the net. And that's where it becomes very interesting because, I mean, he signed a Havertz and tried to put him in that position. You still have an Eddie. Balogun was let go. Does he now bring another forward into the mix? It becomes an interesting conversation.
You know, the thing is as well, why it's really quite, it's really makes me like, so, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for, Kels? I'm
Frustrated?
Frustrated is the word, Kels, simply because when you saw him go through against Man United, that's clinical finishing. So when you're pressing and you get yourself in a situation where you've done the hard work, where's that mindset where, you know, you're going through, there's a lot of time to think about it? Are we saying that when he hasn't got time to think about it, he just goes back into winger mentality? Because when you're going through, that's striker mentality, because he's going to have to get there, he's going to have to get the touch right, beat the defender and slot the ball in like we saw him do against Manchester United. And with this one, with everything at his mercy, he just blasted it. It really makes me wonder why in that moment he done that. I was very surprised.
You would know more than more people that for some forwards it is like that. Some are instinctive finishers, some are more composed where they've got the moment to think. But we've seen loads of players over the years. If you give them time and again one-on-one, they start thinking, oh my gosh, the goalkeeper's there, the goal's getting bigger, oh my word, what do I do now? I'm going to place it here, and they think too much. I think for him, when it comes to those big chances, a lot of the time it looks like he freezes a little bit. Like you said, it was probably harder to miss that opportunity. You do all of the hard work and you completely sky it. But if it came from across the goal, he probably taps it in. It's just the nature of
I was not expecting for him to miss the whole
target.
And that is why it's one of those chances when he misses it, you think, oh, wait, that's going to cost us. Because 2-0 in that game, it's a whole different slant. We see a whole different Tottenham. Are Tottenham going to stick to it? We've seen that they've done it now, 4 out of 6 games or something. They've come back. But when you're 2-0 down against Arsenal, who are pressing you and probably will get more impetus because they've got something from the press, it would have been really interesting to see how that would have worked out.
Didn't happen.